This is the Troll Patrol, live with Justin FREAKIN.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol Live, a special report where we are just moments away from the confirmation of the first ever black woman to the Supreme Court of the United States. There's currently debate going on the Senate floor. Dick Durbin is speaking right now. Chuck Grassley just got done speaking. I guess I'll spare you Durbin for as long as I can. No. We're going to go over here. We're going to listen to some of the debate. The vote is expected tentatively to happen within the next 15 or 30 minutes. Depending on how long-winded these old assholes are. I've got a cat that is apparently wanting back in the house. I'm going to go ahead and flip it over to Dick Durbin here. Let him loose.
Level of fairness and respect as their colleagues. Thankfully, there are members of the Senate who are willing to rise above the partisan fray. I want to particularly commend Senator Susan Collins of Maine, Senator Lisa Murkowski of Alaska.
Fuck Collins,
Senator
fuck
Mitt
Murkowski,
Romney,
and fuck Romney.
Courage and their willingness to
purge my ass.
Singularly qualified and historic nominee to the Supreme Court. You know, when Senator Romney announced his support for Judge Jackson's confirmation, I couldn't help but remember his father, the late George Romney, who served as governor of Michigan in the 1960s during the height of the civil rights movement. Governor George Romney knew a thing or two about political courage.
Can we stop sucking off Republicans? The Republican Party is fucking fascist. Do not give them any credibility.
That same year, when Dr. Martin Luther King organized a march in Detroit, Governor George Romney declared the occasion Freedom Day in Michigan. To my colleague, Senator Mitt Romney, you are your father's son.
Meanwhile, you hand it over to a Republican and it's just going to be attack on Democrats. Attack.
Claiming the life of Dr. Martin Luther King, an American who spoke with greater moral clarity than nearly any other in our history. The night before he died, Dr. King spoke at a rally in support of the city's striking sanitation workers.
By no means got to hand it to him.
From the moment he set foot in Memphis, he'd received
what is up, Pickle?
Death threats. And as Dr. King spoke to the crowd at the Mason Temple, death was on his mind. He said, like anybody, I'd like to live a long life. Longevity has its place, but I'm not concerned about...
But he'd been bullied by the FBI trying to get him to commit suicide and shit. And I'm pretty sure they knew he was out, or they were out to get him.
Prophetic. Dr. King said, I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Oh, I'm pretty good, just having my coffee. Unfortunately, I'm not high enough for this shit, but they are supposed to come into my apartment and do some shit here in the next little bit, so I am unfortunately not going to be able to get high enough for this shit.
Dr. King didn't make it to the promised land, but Judge Jackson's ascension to the Supreme Court...
Yes, congratulations to Ketanji Brown Jackson, who within the next hour is going to be a Supreme Court justice.
Colleagues, I hope you'll think about this. In the years to come, long after we've left the...
So they took the cloture vote earlier this morning. The final confirmation vote expected around 1:45. That's 15 minutes from now. That's what Schumer said earlier this morning.
Down what seemed like an impossible racial barrier and voted to send the first African-American woman to serve on our highest court. I will be proud to say I was on the Senate floor.
Once again, I don't like broadcasting during the day because I don't think I look good in natural light. I look much better in the soft lighting.
United States, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson.
During the show at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Sharing this historic moment, and I yield the floor. The absence of quorum.
Clerk will call the roll.
Okay, so here we go with the vote, it looks like. I do want to bring up a story that we're going to talk about tonight on the Troll Patrol. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi tests positive for COVID-19. Was within inches of Joe Biden just 2 days ago. However, we did see Joe Biden get his second booster a week and a half ago. We carried it live. Was she about to eat Biden? I mean, she was right there next to his face. So I assume this is part of another wave going to hit Capitol Hill. Jen Psaki tested positive, like a week and a half ago? So I guess they're seeing if you see quorum call. They're seeing if there are enough members on the floor to proceed with a vote. I assume there are. Hey, Sky Comet. Hopefully it won't take long and you're actually going to get to see the historic moment that's getting ready to happen. I hope that it happens quick enough, but this is the Senate. 2.5 hours from now, I'm probably going to be like, why are they still taking so long to confirm her? Tonight on the Troll Patrol, we're going to talk about Nancy Pelosi testing positive. We're going to talk about, apparently, the Queen's protocol for when she dies over in the UK was leaked. There's a whole investigation going on. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of other Republicans doing something stupid. The last couple days I've had a video of Matt Walsh. Apparently a pro-life organization actually called Matt Walsh out on his bigotry. Matt Walsh responded. I've been really wanting to watch that video.
Mr. President.
Republican leader, we are in a quorum call.
Ask consent that further proceedings on the quorum call be dispensed with.
Without objection.
President Biden was elected on the promise.
We are going to see a 53 to 47 vote, barring any surprises.
He insisted
Manchin and Sinema are going to vote yes. Romney, Murkowski, and Collins are all yeses.
Senator will commence.
He insisted the radical left would not be calling the shots on his watch.
What radical left?
One of the most consequential decisions a president can make.
Apparently, I'm calling the shots, and I'm not even that radical. The people in my chat are far more radical than I am.
Let the radicals run the show. With Washington Democrats in power,
radical to me is the Republicans opposing popular legislation over and over and over again.
The far left has gotten the insecure border they wanted. And today, the far left will get the Supreme Court justice they wanted. The fringe activists who demand partisan court packing attack the justices.
Are you talking about the Federalist Society? Fringe activists that demand court packing.
Made up their minds from the start of this administration. If a Supreme Court vacancy should arise, they wanted one nominee and one nominee only, Judge Jackson.
No, there were a few in consideration, and I was worried that Biden was going to go with the
specifically
union-busting judge.
Pushed her for the D.C. Circuit. Then they badgered Justice Breyer to quit. In February, one of these groups announced Judge Jackson would be the nominee.
We badgered Breyer to quit, and we are praying for Thomas to croak.
The Senate has examined Judge Jackson's qualifications with the seriousness and vigor that a lifetime appointment deserves. Unlike when the parties...
unlike Amy Coney Barrett
or
Brett Kavanaugh.
Subjected to uncorroborated smear campaigns, committee boycotts, stunts with cardboard cutouts.
Smear campaign is exactly what you would call the whole groomer shit that you've been going on and on and on about.
Our Democratic colleagues seem to have decided in advance they would claim that Judge Jackson was treated shabbily.
He was.
I've heard that script recited, even though it didn't happen.
Unfortunately, McConnell was nowhere near the insurrection.
Let's be clear. No nominee before the Senate for any position
I think he was horrified by what happened.
or a coronation. Tough questions about a federal judge's own rulings and statements are the definition of fair game. My Republican colleagues vigorously inquired, shed important new light on a frequently disturbing judicial record. So I applaud my colleagues for focusing on substance and not following the Democrats' recent precedents into the gutter.
Substance. Remember, we played the clips of all the different stupid shit that the Republicans kept asking her.
Announced the insane concept of partisan court packing.
I didn't know I was sneaking past you, warlord.
Where Judge Jackson ruled like a policymaker implementing personal biases instead of a judge following the text wherever it led. And third, her aggressive judicial activism frequently focused on treating convicted criminals as gently as possible.
Well, we condemn the smear campaigns. Allow me to smear Judge Jackson some more.
Child exploitation. Judge Jackson tilted the scales of justice away from public safety and innocent victims in favor of her career-long passion for softening up criminal sentencing.
In other words, Mitch thinks she lives in sexual
Judge Jackson's
anarchy.
Courtroom, plain
You live
legal
in
text
sexual anarchy.
and clear congressional intent were no match for what the judge admits are
Once again, I am not high enough for this shit. However, they're supposed to be in my apartment any minute to do some shit.
Democrats are pursuing.
So I can't get high enough for this shit.
System soft.
Grumpy Haas, welcome. Thank you for being a freaking follower.
They're stacking the deck with far-left prosecutors, woke warriors at the Department of
Oh, we're gonna go into that tonight. I believe it was USA Today reporter asked the different Republicans like Josh Hawley what a woman is, and they were unable to define a woman. Marsha Blackburn dodged the question 3 different times.
crown jewel. So I'll close with this. These debates about judicial philosophy are not just academic. The charged political atmosphere around confirmations.
I wonder who created that charged political atmosphere around confirmations,
our
Mitch.
national life. These are direct consequences of liberal judicial activism. They're direct results of the efforts to misuse federal courts as a progressive.
We are woke warriors, Sky comment. We are woke warriors.
A republic of self-serving citizens should not spend every June watching with bated breath to see if 5 or 6 lawyers will hand down sweeping policy changes with zero basis.
That is weird for you to say one day after they killed the Clean Water Act
Support even more of a super legislature,
and didn't give a basis for why they did it.
legitimizing death spiral that would destroy the rule of law. There's only one solution. The Senate should only confirm justices who will follow the text of our laws and our Constitution wherever it leads, who will leave subjective policy judgments on this side of the street where they belong. That's how we lower the temperature. That's how we shore up the courts. That's how we protect the rule of law.
Well, then why are you doing the exact opposite of that, Mitch McConnell?
Understand and embrace this limited role.
If you had allowed Merrick Garland to come to a vote, Merrick Garland, who, by the way, was on George W. Bush's short list of Supreme Court nominees, if you'd allowed Merrick Garland to come to a vote, I wouldn't be bitching about Merrick Garland's Justice Department today. I think we would have Doug Jones as Attorney General, and we would be getting somewhere in the January 6th investigation. Confirm, please. Hopefully we are just moments away from you guys seeing a very historic moment in the history of the United States. The confirmation of the first black woman to the Supreme Court. Apparently, Politico left off the word woman when they were describing her the other day. I think it was Politico.
Majority.
Right wingers jumped all over it like she's not the first black person to the Supreme Court.
A joyous day, an inspiring day
Oh, shut the fuck up, Chucky.
for the Supreme Court and for the United States of America. Today, we are here to vote to confirm Ketanji Brown Jackson.
This is my problem, is that we get to the point where it is a joyous day in the country, but I have to listen to Chuck fucking Schumer speak, Dick Durbin speak, and it's going to infuriate me, and I'm going to go off and say how these old fucks need to get the hell out of Washington and let somebody else run the show.
Confirming the judge. You could see them light up, the unmistakable look in their eyes. One day, each young lady thought to herself, I can do it too. You know, it's been a dark 2 years with COVID. People getting sick and dying, many of whom
Byron wants it like a Band-Aid. Just go ahead and rip it the fuck off.
Schools shutting their doors. But even in the darkest times, there are bright lights. Today is one of the brightest lights. And let us hope it's a metaphor.
Limp Dick Chuck!
Indication of many more bright lights to come. As I've said over and over again, there are 3 words that I think best fit Judge Jackson.
This dude right here, he's like, I'm not high enough for this shit right now.
Belongs. Judge Jackson is in every sense and by all measures a brilliant jurist. She is indeed.
Oh, residue, that's what's been going on all day. I just joined up with this, like 30 minutes out from the projected vote time.
Or by reading a book or by talking to lawyers, but by sitting at the kitchen table next to her dad, filling out her coloring book while her dad poured through cases.
I think they reconvened at 10 o'clock this morning.
Will do the same. And it will be Justice Jackson's opinions that will lay open on the table. The judge's parents.
There's been a circle jerk since then. Maybe that was 11 Eastern time.
Pride that this day has come. At every step of her upbringing and career, Ketanji Brown Jackson ranked among the highest of achievers. And look, we should take a moment to note that Judge Jackson will be the first and only justice with experience as a public defender.
Comet, don't work too hard. Look forward to seeing you later. Have a great day.
It will enhance the court's ability to preserve a basic truth in our country, that all deserve equal justice under the law, from the privileged to the impoverished.
Amir Locke deserves justice.
The judge considered so many hurdles. The judge conquered so many hurdles.
You guys joined for the show last night. You heard me argue with somebody about the Constitution and how it applied to the Amir Locke case.
The judge is also beloved by individuals and organizations across the political spectrum. I went through her record carefully, and never did I find one instance of a peer or colleague or associate say one negative word about her. It was incredible. When we go through these records,
he was a little drunk, so we'll cut him some slack.
The individual who knew them, not with just Judge Jackson. And lest we forget, the judge is popular in the minds of the American people.
So, I understand what he was trying to do. He was saying, because he's like, you don't know what it's like to be on the other side. What if they have guns? What if they're gang members? Blah, 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 blah. What he was saying is that he believes a cop should err on the side of the citizen being dangerous. My argument is that the Constitution says that the cop should always err on the side of the citizen being innocent.
The Senate can finish its work today. Finally, as I've said many times, the judge belongs on the Supreme Court.
Senator Cornyn was honest about that, Siren. I did not get the chance to play that last night. Cornyn just came right out and said they want to Oglefeld versus Hobbs, whatever the name of the case is. The one that made gay marriage legal. He has come right out and said they are coming for it.
Have been African American.
Judgy judge.
Ketanji Brown Jackson will be the first African American woman ever to hold the title of justice.
And now usually I would run them down for their identity politics, but this time they actually did pick a good justice.
We'll open textbooks and see pictures of Justice Jackson among the highest ranks of our public figures.
She is not just a token, she is a fantastic jurist.
Could have benefited from such a role model. How many would-be justices, lawyers, doctors, generals, business people have been lost to history precisely because their history books had few, if any, role models that they could relate to?
That could be one of the reasons why Disney has been so big on, representation in their movies. I know it's triggering to the far-right nut jobs.
Towards reaching the full realization.
But that's only because they are fucking morons.
We will make it far more likely that girls across America will feel precisely what Judge Jackson felt herself when she was a kid. Nobody can stop me. I can do this too. I am brilliant too. I belong too. For all these reasons,
seriously, this dude is like, I cannot wait to get out of here and take some bong rips.
And one of the highest priorities.
Oh, that's what I would be thinking.
Senate Democratic majority, of whom I am so proud. Justice Jackson is the most important example.
I assume he's part of, Chucky Boy's staff.
Of the 58.
He looks so bored right now.
Judges, since we took the majority, 3/4 have been women. 2/3 have been people of color. And it's not just racial and gender diversity that matters. We have strived to lift up judges that bring diversity through their experience. More public defenders in our courts, more civil rights lawyers, more election lawyers.
Damn right.
When Americans of all walks of life come before the court, they should have confidence that those who don the robes have the ability to walk in their own shoes.
I know, it's so painful. Get him out of the Senate, get him out of leadership. He should not be a face of the Democratic Party. That is one of the things that hurts the Democrats so bad, is that they've got Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi is the face. Hopefully Nancy, I don't want to wish ill of anybody, but Nancy Pelosi has tested positive for COVID-19.
Over the year to achieve.
I'm going to go ahead and assume that she was boosted recently.
I want to thank Chairman Durbin for beautifully.
But still, she's quite old. She's what, 81?
It was equal parts fair, thorough, and expeditious. No easy feat in this modern Senate. I want to thank all of my Democratic colleagues on the Judiciary Committee. You were just fabulous.
82!
For your respectful and insightful examination.
I was off.
Record. And I want to thank my Republican colleagues who chose to take this process seriously, no matter which side you voted on. The President sent us an impressive nominee. She merited a robust and thoughtful and lively examination. I thank the members who did it precisely that.
Don't even get me started about the DNC.
One of the great moments of American.
Because I'm still salty over that. Jamie Harrison shouldn't be the DNC chair. Stacey Abrams should have been.
Now,
I don't know if that job was offered to Stacey Abrams and she turned it down because of her run for governor.
So from the get-go, generations of Americans.
But the national apparatus of the Democratic Party needed a person like Stacey Abrams, who knew how to organize, who knew how to fundraise, who knew how to harness the grassroots movements.
Vicious segregation of the mid-20th century. And today, we are taking a giant, bold, and important step on the well-trodden path to fulfilling our country's founding promise. This is a great moment for Judge Jackson, but it is even a greater moment for America as we rise to a more perfect union. I thank my colleagues for their work, and I yield the floor.
Under the previous order, all post-cloture time has expired.
Here we go.
The question occurs on the nomination of Ketanji Brown Jackson of the District of Columbia to be an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States.
I ask for the yeas and nays.
Is there a sufficient second?
They might not do a roll call. This may be quicker than I expected. I thought it was going to be about 10 minutes from now, but we may get it quick.
A sufficient second. The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Baldwin. Ms. Baldwin, aye. Mr. Barrasso. No. Mr. Barrasso, no.
Of course.
Bennett. Mr. Bennett, aye. Mrs. Blackburn. Mrs. Blackburn, no. Mr. Blumenthal. Mr. Blumenthal, aye. Mr. Blunt.
And once again, like, imagine what
Mr. Booker.
Judge Jackson is
Mr. Booker,
experiencing right now. She is less than 15 minutes away
no. Mr. Braun.
from one of the most prestigious jobs in the world,
No. Mr.
the
Brown.
history of the world.
Mr. Brown, aye. Mr. Burr. Mr. Burr, no. Ms. Cantwell. Ms. Cantwell, aye. Mrs. Capito. Mrs. Capito, no. Mr. Cardin. Mr. Cardin, aye. Mr. Carper. Mr. Carper, aye. Mr. Casey.
Once again, this is pretty much a formality.
Mr. Cassidy.
Yeah, she's expected to win. It's going to be 53-47.
No.
Barring a surprise, maybe there's going to be one other Republican that jumps over, but it looks like the vote is going to be 53-47.
Mr. Cornyn, no.
This vote is just a formality.
Masto. Ms. Cortez Masto, aye. Mr. Cotton. Mr. Cotton, no.
Mr. Cotton.
Mr. Kramer, no. Mr. Crapo. Mr. Crapo, no. Mr. Cruz. Mr. Cruz, no.
Of course, Mr. Cruz is a no, and calling him Mr. is way too dignified for Ted fucking Cruz.
Aye. Mr. Durbin. Mr. Durbin, aye.
Fucking Cruz indeed.
Ms. Ernst, no. Mrs. Feinstein. Mrs. Feinstein, aye. Mrs. Fisher. No. Mrs. Fisher,
I'm amazed that Dianne Feinstein even knew where she was to be able to
Mr. Graham.
cast a vote. Get that old hag out of the Senate. That's not me being sexist. Believe me, Chuck Schumer's an old hag as well that needs to get the fuck out of the Senate.
Ms. Hassan. Ms. Hassan.
Oh, amnestic.
Aye. Mr. Hawley.
Awesome. I had not put two to two together.
Mr. Heinrich, aye. Mr. Hickenlooper. Mr. Hickenlooper, aye. Ms. Hirono. Ms. Hirono, aye. Mr. Hoven. Mr. Hoven, no. Mrs. Hyde-Smith. Mrs. Hyde-Smith,
By the way,
no.
you are now a sheriff in the chat.
Inhofe, no. Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson, no. Mr. Kane.
I hope they face some kind of consequence. There are 8 seats in the Senate that I think are winnable by the Democrats.
Aye.
They just need 2 of them to expand their majority.
Mr. Kennedy, no. Mr. King,
Mr. Kennedy.
aye. Ms. Klobuchar,
Kennedy.
aye. Mr. Langford,
Kennedy is one of them that I think
Langford, no.
could possibly get taken out because I think Chambers has ran a fantastic campaign thus far.
Aye. Mr. Lee,
His commercials have been hard hitting.
Mr. Lujan, Mr. Lujan, aye. Ms. Lummis, Ms. Lummis, no. Mr. Manchin, Mr. Manchin, aye. Mr. Markey, Mr. Markey, aye. Mr. Marshall, Mr. Marshall, no.
I'd never heard of a Senator Loomis.
Mr. McConnell,
Senator Cynthia Loomis, a Republican of Wyoming.
Mr. Menendez, aye. Mr. Merkley, Mr. Merkley, aye. Mr. Moran, Mr. Moran voted in the negative. Ms. Murkowski, Ms. Murkowski, aye. Mr. Murphy,
There is one of your 3 Republican votes.
aye. Mrs. Murray, Mrs. Murray, aye. Mr. Ossoff, Mr. Ossoff, aye. Mr. Padilla, aye. Mr. Padilla, aye. Mr. Paul, Mr. Peters, Mr.
Didn't even sound like Rand was
Aye.
present.
Mr. Portman,
Rand is another one of those seats. I think Charles Booker in Kentucky can take Rand Paul out.
Mr. Reed, aye. Mr. Risch,
Manchin announced his intention to vote for her about a week ago.
no. Mr. Romney, Mr. Romney,
Let's hope, Siren. Let's hope.
Ms. Rosen, aye. Mr. Rounds, Mr. Rounds, no. Mr. Rubio, Mr. Rubio, no.
There are some fantastic candidates that could be in our government come this time next year.
Mr. Sass, no.
Chambers and Booker,
Mr. Schatz, aye.
top of that list. I would love to see both of them in the Senate.
Aye. Mr. Scott of Florida, Mr. Scott of Florida,
Rick Scott, old Skeletor from Florida.
Mr. Scott of South Carolina, no. Mrs. Shaheen,
Tim Scott of South Carolina, their
Aye.
token
Mr. Shelby,
black guy.
Mr. Shelby, no. Ms. Cinema, Ms. Cinema, aye.
She was proud of her vote.
Ms. Smith, aye. Ms. Stabenow, Ms. Stabenow, aye. Mr. Sullivan, Mr. Sullivan, no. Mr. Tester, Mr. Tester, aye. Mr. Thune, Mr. Thune, no. Mr. Tillis, Tillis, Toomey, Mr. Toomey,
I've spent some time in South Carolina. I've mainly driven through there. I worked in South Carolina for like a week one
Mr. Van
time.
Hollen, Mr. Van Hollen, aye. Mr. Warner,
I don't remember it smelling like piss.
aye. Mr. Warnock, Mr. Warnock, aye.
I tend to prefer North Carolina, but that's just because I've spent more time in North
Aye, Mr.
Carolina. I
White
love
House.
Greensboro. I love Asheville. I love
White
Boone.
House, aye. Mr. Wicker,
I've had a lot of fun times in Charlotte as well.
no. Mr. Wyden, Mr. Wyden, aye. Mr. Young, Mr. Young, no.
We're almost there, guys.
Mr. Graham, no.
Mr. Graham. Old lady Lindsay. Yeah, these motherfuckers asking questions like, what is a woman, when they've got Lindsey Graham and John Kennedy on their side. I assume they're tallying it up right now. Gonna get the final roll call here in just a second. The next time I'm confronted by a Republican with the question, what is a woman? I'm going to be like, can you tell me if this is a man or a woman? Are you able to? Is this an old lady or is this a man? You cannot guarantee me that this is a man. Sorry, Republicans. I guess the time is a formality. Maybe they're giving Rand Paul the chance to come out and cast his vote, because I don't believe I heard a response from Senator Paul. So maybe there are a couple of scragglers that they would allow the rest of the time period, so we're going to have to wait out the time. The suspense is killing me. Less than 6 minutes before Ketanji Brown Jackson confirmed to the Supreme Court of the United States. I believe that was Patrick Leahy walking down the stairs looking like he was, or the steps, looking like he was getting ready to fall. Another old asshole that really needs to get the fuck out of government. You can see that the chamber is incredibly packed, people wanting to witness this historic moment, but also it seems like there is a COVID outbreak on Capitol Hill, so might not be the best idea at the moment. Most of them are unmasked. Also not the best idea. You see a lot of staffers are wearing masks. I definitely wouldn't be in a room full of Republicans not wearing a mask. Siren, I'm pretty sure I streamed the confirmation of Amy Coney Barrett, and I don't even remember. I don't even remember how it went. So much has happened. That felt like a lifetime ago. And that was what, a year and a half ago? It was October of 2020. That whole ordeal, Trump getting COVID, that whole month of the election, that all feels like a fever dream. And I was here for it. Residue, I wish we could vote them out, but I mean, the Republicans, they would get voted out if they voted yes for her. Unfortunately. Less than 3.5 minutes. Confirmation of Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson to the Supreme Court of the United States. Fucking history, guys. This is one of those moments. This may be, we're coming up on the 2-year anniversary of the Troll Patrol. It happens on 4/20. Coming up in less than 2 weeks now. Less than 2 weeks. 2 weeks from yesterday. The Troll Patrol 2-year anniversary and 4/20 celebration. This might be the last clip I play. It's going to be a hybrid clip show / live show. Going to show you guys clips from the very first Troll Patrol. Several of the historic moments that we've seen. Been a wild ride covering the news for the last 2 years with you guys. We will be coming on at 4 o'clock Eastern Time in 2 weeks. We'll be going all night long. We're going to celebrate 4/20 on the East Coast in the Central Time, Mountain Time, Pacific Time, whatever the fuck time Alaska's on, and then Hawaii Time. We're going to watch clips. I'm going to show you guys. Perhaps a lot of you weren't here with me for all of this. Gonna show you the debate between me and Old Gord. I would love to be able to get Old Gord to come on the show and update us on what's been going on, but I believe he's facing charges as a result of his participation in the January 6th Capitol riot. That's another thing. Fucking, I broadcast all day long during the Capitol riot. Just gonna see my face as they're breaking into the Capitol. We had the Senate and the House up on one screen. And then I had the protests up on another screen. We were going back and forth. Fucking wild time. There was the interview I did with Kyle Rittenhouse. You guys didn't see that? That was hilarious. Apparently that a lot of people got really upset with me that it wasn't actually Kyle Rittenhouse. Like, come on. I'm doing a show called The Troll Patrol. I'm a fucking comedian. Less than a minute. "30 seconds until the confirmation of Ketanji Brown Jackson to the Supreme Court of the United States." God, I wish I could light up right now. I wish I could. Watch him knock on my door. Right as I do this. 5 seconds. Judge Jackson, this one is for you. Grabby, it is the confirmation of Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson to the Supreme Court. It is now official. I guess they've actually got to say it's official before it's official. Put this back up. They're supposed to come into my apartment and do some shit anytime now, so gotta keep my paraphernalia put up. Hopefully that doesn't reek too bad. Just in case, just in case. That's not a bad idea, actually. I've got my incense burner right here. I haven't burnt any incense in a while though, because I've been on the products from my friend at Rainy Morning Candles. He hooked me up with some waxes. The maintenance people are supposed to be in my apartment. They installed a radon mitigation system. They were supposed to turn it on, I thought, but Sparkle said they came into her house and just drilled holes in her floor. Like, now radon's leaking into my apartment. I'm like, I'm pretty sure they know what they're doing. They're radon fighters. That's exactly what this shit is. I actually found it. I had a bag of all the shit that I took out of my car when I got rid of my car a few years ago, and I'm like, oh shit, I've got a whole thing of Osium. I can use that. Yeah, I always kept it in the vehicle because I've been arrested for possession of marijuana while driving. So once that happens to you once, you kind of get a little paranoid. So I would always stop at a rest area. I would smoke a bowl at a rest area. I would put everything back up, spray all over the car, and then I'd go back on the road. Oh God, Ohio's got a bill. There are several copycat bills popping up. Oklahoma's got an abortion bill. I actually enjoy driving. I spent years working as a traveling photographer. So, like, driving 8, 9, 10 hours doesn't even faze me, really. Like, I drove 16 hours round trip to see Radiohead in 2019. 2018. Might have been 2018. 2018. 16 hours round trip by myself. Didn't care. Fucking, it's Radiohead. I'll do it. If you're just joining us, they just took the roll call vote. The confirmation of Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson to the Supreme Court of the United States. She has been confirmed. We are just awaiting the official word from Vice President Harris of the actual vote. The vote should come out to be 53 to 47. With Senators Murkowski, Collins, and Romney from the Republican Party joining with all of the Democrats to vote to confirm Judge Jackson. God, like, there's Kennedy, there's McConnell. There's just a whole row of these motherfuckers that need slapped. They need that Will Smith fucking shit. Get the Will Smith treatment up here in the Senate. I believe that's Rick Scott right there. He needs fucking slapped. I'm not partisan. There's Dick Durbin. He needs fucking slapped. There's Leahy. He needs fucking slapped. Not a partisan at all, ladies and gentlemen. I believe that's Barrasso next to McConnell. He needs fucking slapped. Menendez from New Jersey walking over to associate with the Republicans. He needs fucking slapped. Also, I might be wrong on some of these names. They are kind of small. I'm throwing it out there. There's Elizabeth Warren over there. He needs a gentle tap. Equal opportunity slapping indeed. Pretty sure that's Chucky Boy right there. He needs slapped. Hey, if you slap Dianne Feinstein, it might wake her up. Or it might kill her. Who knows? She is very old. She's very old. Oh, you're cool. That's what I'm trying to paint the picture for you, as they would say. I'm radio personality, spent years on the radio, so I think I have an instinct to try to paint the picture for people who are only listening to the audio. The one time that I fail at that is like speaking to the chat. I catch myself doing that all the time. Is I have a bad habit of just responding to the chat and not reading the chat's comment, which is bad for people listening to the audio only because it sounds like I'm having like a unhinged conversation. There felt like there was an electricity on the Senate floor, 10 minutes ago, and now like things have kind of dissipated. Ooh. That's one of my favorite songs of all time, Moo by Doja Cat. Bitch, I'm a cow. Bitch, I'm a cow. I actually heard that song for the very first time on... Oh, here we go. Oh, they were waiting on Rand Paul! We couldn't have just went ahead and put him down for a fucking no? Come on! We knew Rand Paul wasn't going to vote for her. Jesus fucking Christ. For that Rand Paul's Neighbor Appreciation Club. Here we go. Because it's not really official until Harris gavels it down. That's what we're getting ready to get.
On this vote, the yeas are 53, the nays are 47, and this nomination is confirmed.
And there you have it. That is history, folks. Ketanji Brown Jackson is now a U.S. Supreme Court Justice, the first ever black woman to be named to the High Court. I get asked by Republicans a lot, what has Joe Biden done? His nominees have actually been pretty good. Unfortunately, several of them have gotten knocked down.
Under the previous order. The motion to reconsider is considered made and laid upon the table, and the President will immediately be notified of the Senate's action.
Madam President, very happily, I note the absence of a quorum.
The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Baldwin.
So, a formality on a vote to reconsider. Schumer says there's not a quorum, so they're not going to be able to actually take a vote on it. The motion will fail. Ketanji Brown Jackson has been confirmed to the United States Supreme Court. Congratulations, Judge Jackson. Very much deserved. One more, I'm going to go grab the bong one more time. Looks like PBS is actually cutting away from the roll call for the quorum. I mean, it's just a formality. One more time, Judge Jackson, this one is for you. Congratulations. Fortunately, I think my bong might have been cashed. It was what I was smoking on last night. There you have it. The historic confirmation of the first ever African American woman to the Supreme Court. Dude, tune in tonight.
I'm Nicole Ellis for the PBS NewsHour.
What's up, Nicole?
By my colleague and national correspondent John Yang as we continue our coverage of the Supreme Court confirmation of Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. We just watched as senators voted 53 to 47 to confirm Judge Jackson to the Supreme Court of the United States. John, based on the votes, she is headed to the Supreme Court. What happens next? What are the next steps? And
so there's some issues with PBS, but overall they do a fantastic job. I watch Frontlines like
unprecedented situation according
like they're going out of style.
Historians in that she has a long wait. Justice Breyer says that he will step down once the current term ends, which would be the end of June or perhaps even early July if things run late. So she won't be able to even take the judicial oath until
Breyer retires at the end of June, beginning of July, whenever the Supreme Court session ends.
On the bench at the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia, I suspect that would not be.
The problems I have with PBS is like you will see like financial institutions
that are before the
give their endowment. You will see defense contractors give their endowment, and that does affect PBS's coverage.
For her. It's funny. I've been trying to find.
But on shit like this, they are spot on.
What they anticipated, and the answer I got at every corner was
when it comes to matters of foreign policy.
Until this moment had happened, until she had been confirmed.
They're a little too much on the State Department mouthpiece side for me.
To make the transition,
but that's understandable.
Contrast to the last Supreme Court justice to be confirmed, Amy.
Now, come on. You telling me that the Troll Patrol isn't the closest you're going to get to hard journalism? Huh? High enough for this shit. No. It's totally not. It's totally not. But it's the show I've always wanted to do. That's the thing. It's like I was in the broadcasting business for 20 fucking years. I've always wanted to do a show like this, and now I actually get to. It's fucking awesome. I'm kicking myself for not doing this 10 years ago, to be completely honest with you. Back when the algorithms on YouTube would have been a hell of a lot more kind to me. Yes, on tonight's stream, we're going to cover Nancy Pelosi. Positive for COVID-19. She was in close contact with Barack Obama. She was in close contact with Barack Obama, but she was in close contact with Joe Biden just 2 days ago. We're going to cover the Texas governor saying that he is going to bus immigrants to Washington, D.C. We're going to go over the January 6th committee obtaining the Eastman emails. The House voted yesterday to hold Trump's aides in contempt of court or in contempt of Congress. We've got a video of the Good Liars. They always have fantastic segments. Apparently, they asked some Trumpers about their thoughts on January 6th. Fox News has been attacking Stacey Abrams. The same kind of attack they leveled at Bernie Sanders after he became a millionaire from book sales. That's what they're going after Stacey Abrams about. We're going to finish the story. We didn't get a chance to finish it up last night. 115 fetuses. That's what the anti-abortion activist has now said about the number of fetuses in her house. Oh, God. We're also going to talk about the $6 million BLM mansion. Right-wing news is all over it. BLM founders exposed. Plus, the FBI arrested some men that were posing as DHS agents trying to get information from, like, Secret Service agents and shit. They were posing as DHS agents trying to question Secret Service agents about January 6th. Wild fucking story. I can't wait to get the details on that. But you know how it goes. We're always going to run down the news. I'm sure some shit has happened in the time that we've been on. Is going to happen this afternoon that we're going to have to cover. Plus, I'm really wanting to play, I assume I'm going to play it tonight, the video of Matt Walsh responding to a pro-life group calling him out on his bigotry. A pro-life group called Matt Walsh and the Daily Wire out on their bigotry. Good on them. Matt Walsh responded to it. We're going to watch that. What else have I got over here in the bookmarks? Oh, Joe Rogan says school pushed woke anti-racism on his 9-year-old. Apparently, Tucker Carlson still defending Warren Jeffs, who was arranging illegal marriages between adults and underage girls. Oh, yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene is apparently upset about Jimmy Kimmel and a joke he made. So that's the kind of shit that I have queued up for tonight's Troll Patrol. And if any right-wingers decide to come into the chat and ask me what is a woman, I'm going to ask, can you definitively tell me, is this an old lady? Or is this a man? Can't tell. Can you? I don't think you can. Plus so much more tonight on the Troll Patrol Live, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. That is our usual time. Let's see who's on Twitch right now. This is not one of my usual times being on, so usually I just dump you guys in with Dan Simpson. Ooh, Dip is on. Let's go say hey to Dip. They are chatting about, but let's go find out. If you're watching on Twitch, we're sending you over to I've only called them Dip. I don't actually know how to say the Dip Holosporatisus. Diphosphoratus. Sorry, Dip. I screwed your name up. But we still love you, and we're coming to say hey to you. Go ahead, light one up, tip one. Oh, fuck, that doesn't work. That doesn't work when I'm on in the middle of the day. Shit. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. However, that doesn't limit your options very much at all. We'll see you tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern on the Troll Patrol. Live.